Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah, and, it's a book that I think a lot of people have read, but we've got some interesting stuff here, like a review and some stories from people about how it's impacted them. It should be really fun to kind of unpack some of this, see what we can take away from it.
Definitely.
So, The Alchemist is, like, on the surface, it's about this shepherd named Santiago who has this dream about treasure.
Yeah, buried by the pyramids.
Right, exactly. And he ends up, going all the way from Spain to Egypt.
It's a journey.
To find this treasure. It's a journey. But it's obviously not really about the treasure.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, it's, like, deceptively profound. It's one of those books that, people call a simple story, but it's so much more than that.
Right. It's really about, I think, that feeling that we all have. There's, like, something more out there for us, like a purpose waiting to be discovered.
Right.
And Coelho calls that your personal legend.
Exactly. Yeah. And the review we have here really digs into that idea of the personal legend.
Okay.
And it's not like about fame or fortune, necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, they highlight this woman, Maya, who left a really secure corporate job to open a small bakery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was totally inspired by The Alchemist. She finally took the leap, and now her cakes, like, bring joy to this whole community.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's really the essence of the personal legend. It's like finding that thing that makes your soul sing, basically, and pursuing it.
Yeah, and doing it with courage.
Yeah.
Because it's scary
Oh, absolutely.
to actually go after what you really want.
It is. It makes you think, like, what would your life look like if you just went for it? That one thing you've always wanted to do, but, like, something's holding you back.
What's that dream that you've been putting on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask yourself. And I think, like, one of the things the book does really well is it shows that it's not always easy
Oh, definitely not.
to follow your personal legend. Like, Santiago faces so many doubts and, like, setbacks. And there are even times where he's like, I'm just going to turn back.
Right, he's tempted to, yeah.
But he learns to trust that, like, inner voice, that intuition that's urging him forward.
That's such a key point, like, the book emphasizes that fear is often the biggest obstacle in our way.
There's this story here
Okay.
that I thought was interesting about this woman named Sarah. She's a graphic designer.
Okay.
And she had this choice between, like, staying in her hometown where it was comfortable
Right.
and taking this job in a new city that was really risky and, like, she was terrified. But something in her gut told her to go for it.
And did she?
She did, yeah. And it turned out to be the best decision
Oh, wow.
she ever made.
Yeah.
Like, she ended up, getting incredible opportunities and, like, growing as a person and finding this whole community that embraced her.
That's awesome.
It really is.
Wow.
And it's like that saying, leap and the net will appear.
Yeah.
But how do we learn to trust that inner voice when,
Right, when logic is telling you.
when logic is screaming the opposite?
Yeah. Right. Well, the review actually offers some really good tips for that. Things like mindfulness and journaling, spending time in nature, all of these things can kind of help quiet that mental chatter and let you tune into your intuition.
Yeah, like give you space.
And give you space to
hear that voice.
It's like strengthening a muscle, The more you practice, the more you'll be able to recognize those whispers.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of challenges, one of the things I really liked about The Alchemist is it doesn't pretend that everything's going to be easy.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Like Santiago, he faces thieves. He has to cross the desert. There's even heartbreak.
Yeah, he goes through it.
But every obstacle, instead of, like, defeating him, actually makes him stronger.
Absolutely. That's one of the most powerful messages of the book, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the challenges are not roadblocks. They're like stepping stones.
Like Daniel.
Oh, yeah, the project manager.
Yeah. He was talking about this project he had.
Right.
It was just a complete disaster.
Everything went wrong.
Everything. Deadlines were missed. And he felt like giving up.
I've been there.
Yeah. We've all been there. So how did he turn things around?
Well, he didn't.
Oh.
The project ultimately failed.
Okay.
But looking back, he realized that he had learned so much from the experience. Like, he learned to solve problems under pressure and manage, like, difficult personalities.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I think, he developed resilience.
Like Santiago, he came out of the fire stronger.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. It's amazing how like what we think of as failures
Right.
can actually teach us the most.
They are the best teachers sometimes.
They really are. What's like a challenge you faced that, looking back, actually helped you grow?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, this is where The Alchemist gets really interesting.
Okay.
It introduces this whole concept called the soul of the world.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is that?
It's kind of like, it suggests that everything is interconnected.
Okay.
You know, that even our smallest actions can have these ripple effects
Okay.
that we may never fully grasp.
So how does that play out in the story?
Well, there's this part where Santiago is crossing the desert, right?
Yeah.
And he gets caught in the middle of this tribal war.
Oh, wow.
And he feels totally powerless. Like, what can he do?
Right.
But through this, like, simple act of kindness, he unknowingly sets in motion this whole chain of events that eventually leads to peace.
Wow, so it's like one small thing can have a
Yeah.
huge impact.
Exactly, like the butterfly effect.
Right, okay. But how does this apply to our, like, everyday lives?
I mean, think about it. Like, if one small thing can lead to peace,
Yeah.
you know, then what about all the little things we do every day?
It's a good point.
Right. I mean, Olivia, an environmentalist we read about, she was like so moved by this concept. It inspired her to really focus on sustainable living because she saw that her choices, even like little things, impacted the whole planet.
Right, yeah. But what about those of us who aren't saving the rainforest?
Sure.
Like, where's the soul of the world in, like, doing the dishes?
Well, even mundane tasks can have meaning, you know, when you look at them through this lens.
Okay.
Like Carlos, who's a social worker, talked about organizing a park cleanup.
Okay.
It wasn't like glamorous or anything,
Right.
but it brought people together and it created this sense of pride in their neighborhood.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
It's really about shifting your perspective
Yeah.
and seeing how everything is connected.
Yeah, I like that. And, you know, that kind of brings us to one of the most, like, I think, profound themes in The Alchemist,
What's that?
which is that the real treasure isn't external, it's internal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, remember all those hardships Santiago went through?
Yeah.
They weren't just obstacles, they were like opportunities
grow.
to grow. Exactly. His courage and resilience,
His wisdom.
all of that, that was the real treasure.
Yeah, all those things he developed along the way.
Yeah. So the treasure wasn't buried at the pyramids.
Not in the way he initially thought, no.
Yeah.
He realized that the journey itself was the treasure.
Oh, I see.
Like all the lessons and the people he met
Yeah.
and the transformation he went through, that was the gold he was looking for.
Oh, that's interesting. What does the review say about how this idea of, like, inner treasure
Yeah.
resonates with readers?
Well, Amara, who shared her story, you know, she used to be obsessed with external achievements, like a fancy title or, you know, a big house, recognition.
Yeah.
But The Alchemist helped her to realize that true fulfillment actually comes from inner growth and, like, aligning with your values.
So it's a reminder that we already have
Right.
everything we need within ourselves, you know? It's just about cultivating it.
Exactly.
Our strengths and our passions, our capacity for love and compassion,
All of it.
those are the real treasures. But sometimes we need a little nudge, right?
Absolutely.
To remember that.
The Alchemist is a great nudge.
It is a good nudge.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some practical ways that we can start unearthing those inner treasures? Like, what can our listeners do to connect with their personal legend?
Well, one of the key takeaways from The Alchemist, and something that the review really emphasizes, is the importance of listening to your intuition.
Yeah, like that gut feeling.
Yeah, it's that quiet inner voice that often knows what's best for you, even when your head is full of doubts.
Right, like sometimes it's a whisper and sometimes it's like, oh, but it's always there.
Yeah, it's always there guiding us.
Guiding us, yeah. And so what does the review say about, like, how to actually tap into that?
They give some really practical tips.
Okay.
You know, things like spending time in nature, meditating, or even just taking a few moments each day to just be still.
Yeah.
And listen.
Like create space.
Exactly. Create space for that inner voice to emerge.
You know, one of the things that really struck me about The Alchemist
Yeah.
is that it doesn't shy away from the challenges
Oh, no. No.
of pursuing your personal legend.
It acknowledges that it's hard.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, just follow your dreams and everything will be great.
No, definitely not.
Like, Santiago faces all those setbacks and doubts and, you know,
Temptations to give up.
yeah, there are times where he's like, I'm done, I'm out of here.
But he keeps going.
But he keeps going, exactly. But the book really emphasizes that these challenges, they're not roadblocks.
They're opportunities.
They're opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how Daniel, the project manager, he said that his failed project, he was like, it wasn't a failure at all.
Right.
It was just a crash course in resilience and resourcefulness.
Yeah, love that.
It's like
reframing it. Yeah.
Instead of viewing challenges as something to avoid, we can embrace them.
Yeah. And this whole idea of challenges as opportunities, it makes me think of another concept from The Alchemist that I wanted to ask you about, which is the soul of the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a mind bender, but...
It is. It's a little out there.
But it's like suggesting that everything is interconnected.
Yeah, interconnected.
Yeah.
And that even our smallest actions can have this, like, ripple effect on the world.
Okay, so it ties into that butterfly effect idea.
It does, yeah. It's like if a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a hurricane, then imagine what our actions can do. That's a good point. But how does that play out in, like, everyday life?
That's the question, right?
Yeah, like, it's easy to see how saving the rainforest or, you know, fighting for social justice has an impact. But what about the smaller things?
Well, the review gives a great example of this woman, Olivia, who's an environmentalist. And she was so inspired by this concept of interconnectedness that she started making these small changes in her life, like composting and reducing her plastic use and supporting local farmers, like just little things, they all add up.
It's a good point. It's like even those small things contribute to something bigger.
Exactly. It's not all about grand gestures.
Right.
Sometimes it's the little things.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be just about environmentalism.
Right. It can be anything.
It can be anything, yeah. Like, remember Carlos?
Oh, with the park cleanup?
Yeah, the social worker who organized the park cleanup.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a huge thing.
Not at all.
But it brought the community together.
Yeah, and it created this ripple effect of positive energy.
It did. And, you know, it makes me think about, like, all the times I've volunteered or even just, like, done something kind for a stranger.
Yeah.
Like, those little acts might seem insignificant in the moment.
Right. But you never know.
But they can have a big impact.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this whole soul of the world thing. It's like, it encourages us to see the connection in everything we do.
And that even those small actions matter.
They do. They really do.
You know, and that kind of brings us back to this idea that the real treasure isn't external, it's internal.
Yes.
Like, it's not about the stuff we accumulate.
That's stuff, right.
It's about
who we become.
Who we become, yeah. Like, remember Amara?
Yeah, who was so focused on, like, external validation.
External validation, yeah. And reading The Alchemist helped her to shift her focus.
Yeah, inward to cultivate those qualities that really mattered to her. Like kindness and compassion and inner peace.
It's a good reminder that we already have everything we need within ourselves.
We do. It's all there.
It's all there. It's just about, like,
nurturing it.
Nurturing it, yeah.
Yeah, like our strengths and our talents, our capacity for love, forgiveness. Like, these are the treasures.
But sometimes we need a little reminder.
Oh, absolutely. We get so caught up in the external world.
Yeah, and we forget about the internal.
Yeah, and The Alchemist is a good reminder.
It is. It is. So how can we apply this to our lives? Like, how can our listeners start uncovering?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do we do this?
How do we uncover those inner treasures?
Well, the review suggests starting with self-reflection.
Yeah.
Like taking some time to honestly assess your strengths and your values, the things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
Like, what are you passionate about?
Right. What makes you feel alive?
Exactly.
So it's like taking inventory.
Yeah. Taking inventory.
Of your inner resources.
Of your inner landscape.
And what makes you unique?
Yeah. What are your gifts?
What gifts do you have to offer? Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, and once you've identified those inner treasures, the next step is to nurture them.
Okay.
Make time for the things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
Connect with people who uplift you.
Right.
And practice self-compassion.
It's like prioritizing your own well-being.
Exactly.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, all of it.
But, you know, sometimes the hardest part is just taking that first step.
Oh, absolutely. It can be really daunting.
Yeah.
Especially if you're used to, like, focusing on external achievements.
Right.
But The Alchemist reminds us that the journey itself is the reward.
It's not about reaching some destination.
No, it's not about the destination.
It's about, like, savoring every step along the way.
Exactly.
The challenges and the triumphs. the moments of doubt and the moments of clarity.
Of it.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
And as we navigate those challenges, it's good to remember that we're not alone.
Right. We have our intuition.
Yeah.
We have the soul of the world supporting us.
And the wisdom of, all the people who have walked this path before us.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
We are. One of the things I appreciate about The Alchemist is it doesn't give you this, step-by-step plan for finding your personal legend.
It's not a formula.
It's not a formula. It's more like...
It's an invitation.
It's an invitation to what?
To embark on your own unique journey of self-discovery.
Okay.
And to trust.
Trust that the path will unfold.
That the path will unfold, exactly.
So it's about embracing the adventure.
Yes.
And being open to the unexpected.
Yeah, and finding joy in the process.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Alchemist.
It's been a good one.
What's, the one piece of advice
Ooh, good question.
you would give our listeners who are feeling, inspired to go after their personal legend?
I would say just start.
Just start. Okay.
Yeah, take that first step, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
It could be like reading a book or taking a class or even just having a conversation with someone who inspires you.
Right.
Just get the ball rolling.
Yeah. There's a quote from the book that the review mentions that I think really gets at this, which is,
oh yeah,
the secret of life, though, is to fall 7 times and to get up 8 times.
I love that quote.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like a reminder that, we're going to fall down, we're going to make mistakes.
It's inevitable.
But it's that getting back up.
It's the getting back up. Yeah.
That really matters.
It defines us, yeah.
And, sometimes the most profound journeys start with a little whisper.
Right, like a nudge.
A nudge, from the universe saying, go this way.
Exactly. And when you are truly aligned
with your personal legend, that's when the universe conspires to help you achieve it.
Okay.
Doors open, opportunities appear.
It's, like the path just opens up.
Yeah, and people come into your life who support you.
It's like being in the flow.
Exactly.
But it's important to say that it's not always easy.
Oh, no.
There will be moments of doubt and fear and uncertainty along the way.
It's part of the process.
It is, yeah. But, The Alchemist reminds us that those moments are also part of the journey.
Yeah.
They test our resolve.
They make us stronger.
They do.
They build resilience.
Yeah, and they make the triumph even sweeter.
Oh, yeah.
It's like those challenges are the fire that forges us into...
They shape us.
They shape us, into the people that we're meant to be.
Exactly.
And as we're going through those challenges, it's good to remember that we're not alone.
We have each other.
We have our intuition.
We have the soul of the world.
We have the soul of the world supporting us.
Yeah, and we have all the wisdom of
all the
everyone who's
came before.
Done this before.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about The Alchemist is it's not
It's a how-to.
It's not a how-to guide, a step-by-step plan.
Yeah.
It's more of an encouragement.
It's an invitation.
An invitation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an invitation to trust yourself.
Trust yourself. Okay.
And embark on your own journey.
So it's about embracing the mystery of it all.
Yeah,
being open to whatever happens.
To the unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, and finding the joy in the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Alchemist.
It's been a great conversation.
It has been.
Yeah.
I always enjoy talking about this book.
Me too.
It's just so...
It's so
rich and
there.
thought-provoking.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that this is just the beginning.
Absolutely.
It's an invitation to keep exploring these ideas and reflect on our own lives and to take those steps, those small steps,
all those steps
towards living our personal legend.
Yes.
Love that. So it's not just about reading the book.
Yeah.
It's about actually living it.
It's about the journey.
Yeah.
The lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Alchemist.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it's inspired you to listen to your heart and to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
And to pursue those dreams.
Pursue those dreams
that make your soul sing.
Exactly. Those are the ones.
And remember, the real treasure isn't at the end of the journey.
It's not. It's in the journey itself.
It's in the journey itself.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. We'll see you on our next deep dive